Hello, investors. It's Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Tuesday, September 2nd, 5:06 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Market state still in an uptrend since those subsequent fall through days. Take a look at the trend gauge here on the right side of the screen. Some minor changes. Market leaders being moved to neutral. Some names breaking the 21, 50-day, the 10-week. So just monitoring that and some weakening in some sectors, specifically semiconductors, as Nvidia has seen no fall through since earnings. Short term, S&P 500 closed right at the 21 EMA, about 10 basis points, give or take. So, that still had the yellow sub arrow for caution there, and then Q's gap below the 21 EMA and close below. So have the Qs in yellow there. And then medium term above the 50-day moving average, the Qs put a hammer off there. And then long term above the 200-day moving average as well. What happened today? So, there was some tariff uncertainty over the weekend, that, the U.S. Court of Appeals that most Trump's enacted tariffs are illegal. So we'll see how that escalates. You have seasonal weakness. September is historically the weakest month of the year for equities. And you had some of the med cap tech names gapping down. So that's kind of what prompted the gap down. S&P was down 1.3% at the open and then rallied back up. So we'll see how the market reacts into the end of the week. 21 over 21 list was down 0.28%, 11 green, 10 red. Turbo 12 up 0.27%, 7 green, 1 neutral, 4 red. Big 8 down 0.87%, RG8 down 0.48%, 60/40 stock and bond down 0.66%, flagship portfolio GROTECTION down 1.46%, and TurboTaxion down 1.67%. Let's get into the inter-asset correlation. And we'll start with chart S&P 500. And as you can see, gap down lower about 1.3%. Put the lows in, rallied back up, undercut the lows mid-morning, and then rallied back in up into the close, closing right at the 21 EMA, right at it. So, what to watch for. 6,400 is a key spot. Close back above. So want to see that level hold. If that level starts to flip into resistance, that could be a character change. And then really watch how price reacts to the 21, declining 8 EMA. And then if the market sees further weakness, would like to see the 50-day and this 10-week moving average provide support. So those are some spots to watch for on the S&P 500. But again, nothing overly concerning after today, and especially after the nice close. RSP, so far, this big base breakout's failing, but putting a hammer today off the 21. See if this can get back through that 188.16 left side high right here. The Qs, putting a hammer here off the 50-day moving average. And one thing you'll see is going to be a common theme of this video is a lot of hammer candles. You can see the Qs gap down lower, held this 559, 560 spot and rallied back up into the close, closing right at the 10-week moving average, give or take 10 basis points, close right back above. So that's key line in the sand, and then along the 50-day, and then again similar to S&P, if price rallies back up, how is it reacting into the 8 and 21 day? Mag 7 gap down and closing decent. Dow Jones, really nice base, undercut and reclaim these left side highs, top of the base breakout. This is a very constructive looking chart. Mid caps holding this 21 in this 3,200 level, still seeing some RS here across the mid caps, the RG8 after Jackson Hole. Russ 2000 undercut and reclaim of the 8 EMA and held this 23.26 left side peak. So again, good line in the sand. 21 days should act as support. This is going to continue higher. And then zooming out, 2400 is the next big resistance spot. But again, still like the monthly, weekly, multi-year base setups here. ARC, undercut and reclaim of the 50-day moving average, got a downtrend line here from the highs. Leaders, really good close here. Undercut and reclaim of this 34.26 left side, previous left side highs in closing nicely. See if this can take out 35.19. VIX, so everyone says don't do technical analysis on VIX, which is true, right? If you get a huge geopolitical event or huge like volatility event. Technical analysis doesn't matter, but it is worth noting this did reject the 200-day moving average and couldn't close back above 20. And you can see kind of tried to get near 19.5, 20, rejected. And as this started to roll off, that coincided with the market rallying into the end of the day. So as long as it stays below 20, ideally 18, that should be good and provides further fuel for the market to rally back up. The dollar, power three setup here, maybe trying to bottom out with the higher low here. Gold, the star of the show today, essentially has been going sideways since April and now breaking out of this big base here, 5 days up in a row, getting a little short-term extended, but quite the move for gold. And you can see just pretty textbook weekly base breakout here. Really nice move on that. And then GDX, gold miners, many of these individual stocks have just been on tears. And this again, moving higher up 2.5%. Silver, moving with the precious metal complex, new highs out of the space. Weekly looks fantastic. Bitcoin, something to note, some relative strength here today, up 2.5%. 6370 is this previous base breakout. That's a key level to watch. And one thing sometimes is Bitcoin tops before equities and sometimes starts to bottom out before. So nice to see some minor relative strength here, up 2.5%. We'll see if this can fall through this week. Bonds sitting at the 50-day moving average, TLT. Again, this one's really in no man's land as well. And that coincides with rates. Getting a potential wedge pop here against downtrend line. TNX coming against downtrend line here as well. That's an interesting correlation. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Percent stocks with the 5-day moving average down 26. And this is kind of the fear FOMO indicator. When it gets above 80, that might mean that there's some FOMO in the market. And then when this starts to get below 20, 10, that might mark some fear in the market. And the lower this goes, the better odds that if the market starts to bounce, has much more room to the upside. So really good short-term breadth indicator that we look. And the lower this goes, the better odds for a sustainable bounce in the market. Let's see, news Thursday morning, PMI and jobless claims, and then Friday morning employment report. Today's keys, S&P below the 8 EMA and 6,500, Qs below that 21 EMA and all-time highs, Russell undercut and reclaim of the 8 EMA and above this, below the 2,400 level. And going into Wednesday, watching, the 821 and 50-day are all in play on the S&P 500. See how rallies act into the 8 EMA and see if the 21 EMA can hold as support along with the 50-day moving average. And then Qs, see if this 50-day can act as support again, and then how price reacts into the 21 EMA. And then Russ 2000 versus the 8 EMA and 21 EMA on support. Day count down 2. 1 day below the 8 EMA, 1 day below the 21 EMA. Short-term expectations, neutral/negative with S&P hovering at 21 and the Qs below. Sectors-wise, biotech was up nicely today. UTHR had a catalyst this morning on some trials. That kind of gave some gas to the biotech sector. Silver along with gold, the whole precious metal complex, Bitcoin, FXI, this is China, and then XLE Energy. REMX was weak on the day. This is the rare earth metals. XLRE, real estate, semiconductors weak, NVIDIA below the 50-day moving average and has gone down since earnings, tech, and then software and cybersecurity weak again. GROTECTION today sold Rocket, trimmed SSO and MP, and then bought a starter position in MDB. 1.15 RVAB, balance at risk 4.04%. TurboTection today sold MP and then trimmed GEV. 1.6 RVAB, minus 2.98%, balance at risk. Bottom line, September seasonality kicks in. Leaders attempt to rally end of day. All right, let's get in some charts of interest. GROTECTION sold Rocket, just gapped down below the 21 EMA. Trimmed MP, breaking below the 21 EMA. We sold this in TurboTection as well. And then also trimmed some S&P exposure in GROTECTION below the 8 EMA, and then bought a starter in MDB. Looking good, day 2 higher high and consolidating after this earnings gap. This one's acting extremely well and getting into kind of a stage one base look here on MongoDB. So good action there. And then the other action from Turbo, trim GEV breaking below the 50-day moving average as well. All right, those are the trades. Let's take a look at the new 21 over 21 list. Take two, this is added to the list today. Looks really good. Strong day today after this power three. See how it reacts into this 245.07 level. Tempest AI, this was a really major RS on this one today. This has got medical AI to it, had a strong move up from, the 200-day, pulled back to the 21. And this is exactly what you want to see a name respond to pulling back to the 21 EMA. And this has been a total chop fest, but starting to show some changing character after this big move up and getting supported on this pullback. This has got a 2-year base that's setting up for a breakout. Take a look at the monthly. Recent IPO, medical AI name. So this is on the top of our list right now. GDX continuing higher. STX just continues to be really strong. Every pullback gets supported. Valero, this was added to the 21 list this week, and energy was up a little bit today. So worth watching. Oil, gas names, energy start to see some rotation. Big stage one basis here. Watch how this reacts to the 155.12 pivot. Boeing, this was another ad here. Really nice base here. Looking poised for a breakout here. CRDO, nice bounce up 21 today. Continues to hold up well. Earnings tomorrow, so we'll see how this acts. MongoDB covered that. Futu, really strong bounce here off the 21 day in China. Names continue to act well. This is one of the leaders. APP, nice, again, major RS on this one today. Undercut reclaim of the 8 EMA. So seeing some of the leaders acting like this way is definitely a good sign. And obviously they have great estimates going forward. First Solar, undercut reclaim of the 21. See how this reacts at the 200 spot. Net looking good here, consolidating at the highs. Arista Networks, nice earnings continuation flag shaping up on this one. Carvana, just in a big base, continues to look good. Snowflake, 2-day pullback. But again, holding this, 226 spot, this looks ripe. And again, this is a huge stage one base breakout on an earnings catalyst. So again, it's top of the list and with the recent strength in software names. Reddit, tightening really up off the 21 here after this super strong run up. Celsius hanging out at the highs, looks good. SoFi, fund support at the 21, see if it can reclaim 25. Bloom Energy, good action again. This was down almost 7% early in the morning, rallied back up off the 8, only down 3%. This continues to show immense relative strength. SC sitting right at the 21 day. ALAB finds support at the 21. And this looks to be building out this post-earnings continuation flag. It's 21 over 21 list. Take a look at Turbo 12. Irene, super strong comeback. Had earnings on Friday, closed week, and then just firing back today, up almost 10%. Added Wayfair on the list today. This one's been on a super strong linear run and flagging out here at the highs. Temps AI covered this. Rocket Lab, this one also looks really good. You got a 7-week base here in a name that has had a really strong run up. So if this can take out 50, this looks quite nice. PAAS, this is another one of these gold miner names that's been acting really well. Fits the theme with gold and silver moving higher. Credo covered that in the 21 over 21 list. KTOS, nice bounce today, closed green on the day. Again, relative strength. Has been one of the leaders in the aerospace and defense name, and this one looks like it potentially wants to continue higher. Unity is another example of a hammer candle. Gap down, got bought up. See how it acts if it tries to break out through 40. GSTG, this is another recent earnings gapper, and this one's acting quite well. WGS, this is another addition after this earnings gap has continued higher, showing great RS. Bloom Energy covered that one, and then SEDG pulling back to the 21 and putting a hammer in as well. So, kind of a theme of the day was some really nice hammer candles. And I do see Google's up almost 8% after hours on U.S. judge issues sealed ruling in Google online search monopoly case. So this should fare well for the Qs. They're up 0.5% into 568 level. So we'll see. It's coming back into that 21 day overnight. So we'll see how that acts. But again, new highs for Google is not bearish whatsoever. Then some other charts of note that I wanted to mention. BABA, day two higher high. This one is a huge stage one base leader in the China name, kind of the institutional favorite, right? Good, solid fundamentals. Weak growth, but they did have some good cloud revenue. And this one, just super reaction off earnings, day two higher high. So this one stood out today. CLS, this one's holding up again as well. Undercut and reclaim of the 21 day, looking good. Sol Z, this is Solana. This is starting to emerge as the leader in crypto now, flagging out at the highs. This one looks quite nice. Bros, this one's been showing some RS, strong move up and now flagging here in this base. Let's see. LEU, undercut and reclaim of the 50-day moving average and 200-day. SMR had some news today, and that's why I was up almost 8%. So that brought some power back into some of these alternative energy names. And this has just got a weekly flag here. This one looks good. Let's see, what else do we got? Palantir, again, very important name for AI, hammer off the 50-day moving average. And a lot of these names that put in hammers, today's lows are going to be crucial. So set some alerts and watch how they react. AMD, another semi name that had been leading this year, putting a hammer here off the 50-day moving average. I would watch today's lows as a good line in the sand. And then some other names, PGY, this is kind of a fintech name. Undercut and reclaim at the top of this base and close near the highs. And then NXT, this is another solar name kind of flagging at the highs. So NVIDIA, this is another one worth watching, right? Sitting right at the 50-day moving average and this kind of cluster of support. So would like to see this area hold and today's lows hold. But all in all, this morning it was looking like a pretty nasty gap down, and the way that a lot of the leaders responded is quite constructive in my eyes. So, moving forward into tomorrow and the rest of the week, really want to see today's lows hold on many of the names and the indexes, and then we'll just see what stands out. In RS, today's a great name to track RS, and you don't always necessarily, there's a time and a place to buy RS, and today kind of just use more of a day to track the RS and see if it follows through into tomorrow. But all in all, after the morning gap down, pretty positive action across the board, and just going to see how the market reacts into the end of the week. So that is going to wrap it. As always, I'd like to hear from you. My email is connor@revereasset.com. You can find me on Twitter at ConnorJBates_. And you can always reach out to Dan or Don at revereasset.com as well. Phone is 855-REAL-WEALTH, 855-732-5932. And if you're ever interested in becoming a client, as always, please reach out. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like, share, subscribe, comment. We appreciate everyone that watches it. And thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great night.